I really hate crying during movies. Hey guys, how is everybody doing? And welcome, finally, back to my Christopher Nolan review series. I took a little bit of a hiatus doing the Evil Dead review series, but we're back at it again with the Journey to the Odyssey, which finally releases in theaters this weekend. I'm very, very excited. So, continuing my Christopher Nolan review series, here are my thoughts on Interstellar. Starting off with my positives on Interstellar, and my first positive is yet another iconic Hans Zimmer score. The score in this movie is one of my all-time favorite scores, even before it's really funny because I remember even before I had ever watched this movie for the first time, I always heard the score of this movie. I always heard it around whether it was TikTok edits or it was just somewhere out there. I always heard it, I recognized it, and then when I finally watched the movie, it was even better. And has always been one of my all-time favorite movie scores. I absolutely love it. Not only does it match that sci-fi feeling that this movie, why did I say feeling? But it doesn't, it not only does it have that sci-fi feeling to it like this movie is, but it also has that emotional feelings to it. Like every time you hear it, you kind of shed a little tear because it kind of speaks of this emotional like level to it, and I love that about a score to where it basically makes you feel the emotions of what what movie that it's in, whether it's because Hans Zimmer has scored the Dark Knight trilogy, he scored Inception for all of Christopher Nolan, and something I've recognized in all of his scores is that he makes you feel the score, whether it's in the Dark Knight where he makes you feel like that intensity that he goes for, or in Interstellar where he makes you feel the emotion of the movie, where because this is a very emotional film, or it was either in Inception where it kind of it kind of goes for that heist type of feeling or whatever, but not really. It's kind of hard to describe the Inception thing, but we're not talking about that one. But the score in this movie has always been one of my all-time favorites. I absolutely adore this score, and Hans Zimmer gives us another classic. And it's time to talk about the main guy of the movie, the star of the show, Matthew McConaughey. To me, I am still baffled of how he did not win an Oscar for this movie because I truly do believe that this is the best performance that we have ever got out of him. And it makes sense because, well, it's a Christopher Nolan movie. He always gets the best out of his actors. Sometimes. Dark Knight Rises. But Matthew McConaughey gives an absolute amazing performance, not only just as a character of Cooper, of just like he playing the scientist, engineer like character, but he also plays an amazing father figure to where you really feel the father figure presence, and he does such a good job of playing the a dad of this movie to where like it genuinely feels like that he's raising these kids and makes you kind of it makes you feel like that he's actually the dad of these two kids. That's how good he does. And not only that, just the emotional level of when he's just throughout the whole movie, like when the scene where he's saying goodbye to Murph, and the pain in his voice and just the sadness in his eyes, realizing that he's leaving his child, and he's trying his best to make her understand before he leaves so he doesn't have this void type of feeling in him, knowing that he pissed off his daughter and his daughter hates him before he leaves. He doesn't want to leave with that feeling, and just sitting there and he's like, and just trying to cope with her, and then he shows us like, by the time I come back, we might be the same age. How about that? And then he realizes he kind of fucks up because the daughter realizes like he doesn't know when he's going to come back. He doesn't know if he's telling me the truth or not, and just that whole scene is one of the most emotional scenes in movie. Like that's to me, that's the most emotional scene in this movie. Even to me, that even tops the scene where he sits there in that chair and he's watching 23 years of footage of his kids, and he has this joy, like this joyful, happy like feeling watching it, like, oh my god, like I'm so glad my kids are growing up, like my son is now a father, I'm a grandfather now. It's like he's glad to see his kids are growing up, but at the same time he's so emotionally heartbroken that he never got to raise his kids. He wasn't there for his son for his wedding, he wasn't there for his son when his grandson was born, or he wasn't there when his son graduated or his daughter graduated or whatever. Like that's all slowly settling in that one scene, and Matthew McConaughey does such an amazing job of selling not only the joy of it, but the heartbreak of it. Even right now, I'm getting a little emotional.
Cry, it's gonna make me cry. Ah! I cry like Snoopy!
And then the scene where Merv shows up and it's just like, today is my birthday. I was the exact same age you were the day you left. And just the river of tears that are going down his face in that scene is that scene alone is Oscar worthy. Now I know he got nominated, but he should have fucking won. That's how good Matthew does in this movie. And we all love Matthew McConaughey. All right, all right, all right.
All right, all right. Oh, Christ.
And a lot of people like to. I've seen a lot of people. Excuse me. I've seen a lot of people say that the theme of this movie is love. I would go ahead and argue that the real theme of this movie is appreciating time and appreciating the time that you have with your family. Now, yeah, pretty much the another theme of this movie is time, which, excuse me, you can't really argue that. One of the biggest themes of this movie is time, so there's no arguing that. But to me, I've always loved how this movie gives off the theme of you should appreciate the time that you have with your family and appreciate the time that you do spend with them. There's a lot of people that take that for granted. There's a lot of people that don't appreciate it for the time, and then they get older and they look back and they're like, I really wish I appreciated more. Even on a personal level, there's a lot of family that I have lost that I kind of look back at myself and I go, I wish I appreciated them more. I wish that I had a better relationship with. I at least tried to. So I can really connect with that, and I really enjoy that about this movie. And because when Coop leaves, he doesn't get to watch his kids grow up. He doesn't get to help his kids. He doesn't help to he doesn't help to raise his kids or whatever. And pretty much the grandpa raised them. And I really appreciate that, especially as I get older and the amount of family I've lost, it sticks with me more, and I really enjoy, and that's something that I really connected with in this movie. And that's just the beauty of Christopher Nolan. He helps you, like, even when it's a movie you would never think of making, he somehow helps you connect with the film, the story that he's telling, whether it's Inception or Memento or whatever. But I've always really enjoyed the theme of appreciating your time with your family. I've always that especially, like I just said, especially when you get older. And obviously, when Christopher Nolan announced that he was going to do a sci-fi space movie, something similar to 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is how he described it when it was coming out, which it's not quite that, but it's close on that level. But but when you hear that, you're obviously going to think, oh, the visual effects are going to look great, and well, the visual effects are fucking awesome, and I'm pretty sure this movie won an Oscar for it, and if it did, deservingly so. If not, then don't know how you could top this because the visual effects in this movie are just fucking gorgeous, especially the scene where they're just floating in space and you just see like Jupiter. I think it might have been Jupiter, maybe it was Saturn. I can't remember, but you see like Jupiter and you just see them floating through space, and then when they go in through the black hole, just the design of that thing is just fucking gorgeous. Or when they're just floating in space, the colors that are presented throughout space are just absolutely fucking gorgeous. The visual effects in this movie are just absolutely gorgeous. Not only do one, they look amazing, they're just fucking beautiful. And for my final positive, this is something that kind of bothered me a little bit when I first watched this movie, and that was the whole twist reveal or surprise reveal. It's not really a twist, more of a surprise reveal. So throughout the whole movie, well, not throughout the whole movie, at the beginning of the movie, there was this there was this speculation that maybe there was a ghost living in Merv's room, where there was knocking bookshelves over, dust particles landing in weird ways of gravity, and or spelling out certain messages saying like "stay" or whatever. Everyone thought like the movie tries to sell it, oh, it's just a ghost, but at the very end of the movie, you find out that it's actually Cooper, her father, that has been her ghost. It was his future self in space, and this like I don't know, domino like effect thing, or yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I guess it could be purgatory, all I fucking know. And he's living in there and he's seeing himself leave, and so he's banging on the wall and the bookshelves knock over, and he's trying to tell Merv to tell him to stay. And at first I didn't like that when I first watched the movie, But as time goes on, I really like that, especially since we find out, because in the middle of the movie we kind of find out that basically this mission is pointless. Like Cooper did not need to leave. He did not need to leave to save Earth. And when you kind of find that out, that kind of makes the whole movie pointless, and it might ruin your experience. But as time goes on, you watch this ending, you find out Cooper wasn't sent to save Earth. He was sent so Merv can save it, so where he can give her the resources, the information, and all of this stuff. They didn't choose Cooper, they chose Merv, and Cooper had to go so he can give her that message in a different way. Now, yes, it can be confusing, it might be weird, but now on this most rewatch, I really like that. I really like that ending. I really like that direction. And it just made the movie even more interesting and where it leaves you shocked. Now, I can understand why a lot of people might not like that. It might be a little too confusing. Maybe it doesn't work. But I really like that about this movie. That was something that really worked for me this time around. And that's something to where I knew it was coming, but I didn't really remember the explanation. But when I sat and watched it and they explained it to me, I was like, holy shit, that was fucking brilliant. But now moving on to my negatives, and I only have one, and my one negative is all of Matt Damon's character. Now, I love Matt Damon. Matt Damon's an amazing actor. Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
But I feel like his character in this movie is fucking pointless because when I was watching the movie and they need him for some sort of information where his character he explains that, oh, me and my crew were sent out to find a new habit for Earth, and we were all split into groups, and if we found one, we would shoot a light beam or something in the sky, and then the next mission would be for me to go over there. And so he gets introduced, and then he basically tricks them and says, oh, I didn't really mean that. I just wanted you to save my life. I wanted to get out of hibernation, and so I'm now trying to kill you. I think that was kind of stupid. Now, I have seen people try to explain like, oh, it's actually a good decision because it adds something to like keep your attention. I mean, I guess, but when I was watching, I was just like, this is stupid, and it took away from the story that I was already enjoying because this movie's almost 3 hours long. If you cut out all of Matt Damon's twist and story or whatever the fuck if you cut out all of that, I genuinely do believe that there would be no change in the story and no change in pace. Because by the time all of that's going on, the movie just starts to become boring for me. I didn't really enjoy any of it, and the twist of where he tries to basically kill Matthew McConaughey's character, I kind of saw that coming. And I was just like, oh, this is kind of stupid, and I don't really like this. And I love Matt Damon, but it kind of just felt like, he auditioned for this movie and he didn't get cast in a main role. So Christopher Nolan's just like, you know what, I want you in my movie. I'm gonna write you a pointless role. And so he did that just to make this movie nearly 3 hours long. So it kind of just felt like a last second idea to add Matt Damon in this movie.
Matt Damon.
But overall, guys, I really enjoy Interstellar. It is one of the best Christopher Nolan movies in my mind. I really enjoy this movie, and not just on an enjoyment level, but on an emotional level. I feel like as the older that you get, the more you'll like this movie, especially if you have kids. Now, I don't have kids. I have little sisters, so I guess I can somewhat gravitate towards it. But I feel like as the older you get, the more you will enjoy this movie. So this is definitely a must-watch Christopher Nolan film. So what do you guys think about Interstellar? Have you seen it? What do you think about it? Do you like this movie? Do you not like this movie? Is this one of your favorite Christopher Nolan movies, or is this one of your least favorite Christopher Nolan movies? Let me know in the comments below and we shall talk about it. If you like this video, like it. If you love it, subscribe to the notifications so you will get notified for all my latest videos and for the rest of my Christopher Nolan review series. Thank you all so much for watching, and of course, until my next video, see you all next time.